You don't rewatch shows because you're bored. That's the lie you tell yourself. You already know every scene, every line, every ending, yet your finger still hovers and presses play. Again. And the strange part? The moment it starts, your body relaxes, your breathing slows, your mind goes quiet, almost like you've returned somewhere safe. This isn't about entertainment, it's about relief. Because when life feels unpredictable, your brain craves something it can trust. A world where nothing surprises you, where no moment can hurt you unexpectedly. What looks like comfort is actually your mind protecting itself. And once you understand why it needs that protection, you'll never see your favorite show the same way again. That familiar show doesn't just comfort you, it controls your emotional environment. When you rewatch something, your brain already knows what's coming. No sudden tension, no emotional ambush, no unexpected loss. Your nervous system loves that because uncertainty is exhausting. In real life, you don't know what the next message will say. You don't know how people will react. You don't know when something will fall apart. But in that show, everything is predictable. Even the pain arrives on schedule. And predictability feels like safety. Your brain releases calm chemicals, not because the story's good, but because nothing in it can betray you. That's why new shows sometimes feel too much, too many unknowns, too many emotional risks. Rewatching isn't laziness. It's your mind choosing peace over surprise. Your brain is a survival machine. It is constantly scanning for danger, even when you think you're relaxing. New stories demand work. They force your mind to predict outcomes, analyze characters, prepare for loss. That costs energy. But a familiar story? Your brain takes a shortcut. It already knows who survives. It already knows who disappoints you. It already knows where the pain ends. So instead of staying alert, your mind drifts. Not because it's weak, but because it finally feels allowed to rest. This is why rewatching often happens late at night, when your defenses are low, when you're too tired to face uncertainty again. In that moment, familiarity isn't entertainment. It's a mental sedative, a way to be awake without being on guard. But here's the part most people never want to admit. You're not just calming your mind, you're soothing something deeper. Rewatching often begins after emotional overload, disappointment, rejection, long stress, quiet loneliness. Because familiar stories don't just feel safe, they remind your brain of a time when you felt held. Maybe you watched that show during a simpler phase of life, or during a moment when someone was still there, or when the future didn't feel so heavy. Your brain links that story to emotional shelter. So when real life starts hurting in ways you can't name, it sends you back there. Not to escape reality, but to numb the part of you that's been absorbing too much. This is why rewatching spikes after loss, burnout, or emotional exhaustion. It's not about the screen. It's about quiet healing without having to explain the pain. Here's the twist most people never see. You're not rewatching because you miss the past. You're rewatching because the present feels uncontrollable. Familiar stories give you something rare, total emotional control. You choose when to feel, when to laugh, when to cry, when it ends. In real life, emotions attack without permission, but on the screen, nothing touches you unless you allow it. That's why this habit feels empowering, even though it looks passive. Rewatching is your mind quietly reclaiming authority over feelings, over outcomes, over chaos. It's not nostalgia. It's a response to a world that stopped feeling safe to predict. And once you see that, you realize this habit isn't random, it's strategic. If someone could read your inner world, they wouldn't look at your screen. They'd look at when you press play again. People who rewatch often feel deeply. They notice more. They absorb more than they show. So they build quiet systems to regulate themselves. Music on repeat, routes they never change, stories they already know. It doesn't mean they fear growth. It means they've learned that too much unpredictability hurts. Rewatching becomes a signal, a private language between you and your nervous system. It says, I don't need more stimulation, I need stability. And the more chaotic life feels, the more powerful that signal becomes. This habit isn't about the shows, it's a mirror, one that reflects how carefully you've been holding yourself together. One day, without realizing it, you stop watching the show. Not because you're bored, but because it no longer works the same way. The comfort fades. The scenes don't quiet your mind like they used to. And that's when the truth surfaces. Rewatching was never the problem. It was a temporary shelter, a place your mind built when real life felt too sharp, too loud, too uncertain. But shelters aren't meant to be lived in forever. They're meant to protect you until you're ready to step back out. And the haunting part is this. The moment you no longer need familiar stories, it means something inside you has healed or hardened. Either way, you didn't change the show. The show changed what it was protecting. And once you notice that, you'll never press play the same way again. If you enjoyed our video, please like and subscribe so you don't miss any upcoming videos. Thank you.